Hey everybody, I'm Nathan. This is Nathan's Art Show. I'm here with the one and only Delta Sauce. How are you, bro?
I am doing great. How are you today?
I'm good. If I look a little sweaty, that's because I went to the gym. I'm trying to get my life back on track. Not that it was like off track necessarily. I don't want to sound fully unhinged or anything, but I moved recently and I got out of my routine. So I always just feel better when I'm kind of keeping in shape and all that stuff because I've mental health stuff, so I have to exercise. They say it's good for your brain. How about you? There's a lot, huh?
Yeah, no, it's yeah, no, dude, I've been on a, not to throw like a wrench into this conversation, but like I've been on a health journey, for the last 2 years now. So like I completely get like working out. Like been doing a lot of yard work. That's usually my workout and cardio. So, but no, everything's been going well here. I've been, work out a lot of artwork in the background and just like, and I traveled to Eat Denver recently and it was fantastic. I loved it. So.
Ooh, yeah, I skipped it this year. I went last year. I did like a little art show thing, and I was going to this year, but some things fell through and just last minute stuff, so I couldn't swing it. But ETH Denver is always cool. ETH ecosystem's always been good, and the health journey thing is something I understand really well. So I'm in relatively good shape now, but I've been over 300 pounds two times in my life. So I've always kind of like shot up really high and then had to work myself down because they say it's not healthy to be that heavy. So and yeah, I always found that yard work is one of the easiest ways to get it done because you have to do it anyway. So it's I don't know, but how like explain your health journey a little bit. I'm actually kind of curious about that.
So I was 340, and that was about 2 years ago. I was at my heaviest that I've ever been, and I decided like, if I'm gonna take my art seriously, I need to take my health seriously. So like I went on this, caloric deficit that was really extreme. I was doing OMAD 1 meal a day, eating 1,700 calories in one sitting. So like I would basically have an hour for the day to eat all my calories, and then I would fast for 23 hours. And
Mm.
during fasting it was just water. So like I started very aggressive, and then when I knew that I was able to hold myself accountable and I was able to go that aggressive, I started to loosen the chain a little bit, but still remain in a caloric deficit. So like been able to maintain around like 1,700 calories to 1,800 calories, like except for travel. Going to Eat
Mm.
Denver, going to like events. Can't count calories. So like I have to be more wary of like what I do eat and what I don't eat, and keep be very mindful of that. But every time I come back home, I reel it in. I get back into my normal routine, and that's been how I've been able to like hold myself accountable. Is because like I'd have 5 pound fluctuations while I was in London last year, and that's because
Mm.
I can't watch what I'm ingesting. I going out to eat every day basically because it's travel. So just keeping an eye on that. But like yeah, I've been able to like work my way down from 340 to 250 right now.
Wow, it's almost 100. How's that feel? I mean, are you aiming for 100, or are you kind of like
I,
happy
I
to
am
be
a-
under
I,
it?
I I am aiming for 100, but like I know that when I get to that goal of 240, I'm gonna want to go lower. I'm probably gonna go like
Yeah,
230 because like you know, for me it's just like now that I know that I can do this, it's all about doing this long term. Because like you could
yeah,
easily slip back up and go back up like 100 pounds if you know, diets are forever. I try to like tell people this. It's just like I can't go back to the way I was before all this. So like I have to just maintain this diet and being very strict and being very mindful, but also allowing myself to make mistakes along the way because I feel like you need a healthy relationship with food. So you have to
yeah.
look at it from the perspective of like you can have Oreos or ice creams every now and then, but just don't make it a habit of doing it daily.
Yeah, it becomes like sort of an eating disorder if you're not careful with that. It's good to be disciplined, and it's also good to have fun. And as far as we know, we only live once. So, like, I mean, you gotta have an Oreo occasionally or some ice cream occasionally. But yeah, that's really cool. I always tell people because I've lost 100 pounds twice. I always say if I can do it twice, I know you can do it once. So yeah, I mean, keep going. I think once you get to that number, from my experience, it's good to push lower if you can, because like you said, it just
I
keeps
look at
going.
I look at it from the perspective of like I didn't set a goal. I think a goal of time, win. I feel like
Mm,
that's the wrong approach for that because like you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. Like I lose 100 pounds in a year. I'm just like I don't want to set those expectations. So like I've always said I'll get there when I get there. Whether it take an extra year or so or an extra 2 years, whenever it happens, it happens. I just gotta make sure that I am holding myself accountable and watching what I'm eating and what I'm putting into my body.
yeah, it's like a road trip. Like you set your coordinates, and it tells you like an estimated amount of time. You know where you're going, but if you rush too much, you're probably gonna get pulled over. And if you slack too much, you're not gonna enjoy the amount of time on vacation that you want. So yeah, I think that's smart. And health is one of those things where it's not always about how you look or feel. It's about like longevity. You want to be around. You want to be around to see the future, your family, whatever you've got going on in your life. Make more art. You know, it's important for so many reasons. And I think as artists, we kind of like slack off on our health a little bit because a lot of us are usually like in our studio or at the desk or like whatever it is, not really moving around. You can't like move around and do digital
Yeah.
art or any kind of art that much. So unless you're like Jackson Pollock or something, you're just like throwing stuff. Um, so yeah, it's like it's important to focus on. Speaking of art, like now that we're there, how did you get started in this whole game?
So I joined in the NFT space, the space that we reside in currently, around September of 2021, and I found this place because like I was doing art, I was doing mainly photography because I didn't even know about AI art until I got into the space. I was doing mainly photography, and I wanted a place to share my art, and one of my coworkers was like, why don't you just post it? Like, there's this new technology called NFTs. Why don't you go like put your artwork out there? And like that's where I put I had my first mint in September of 2021, and it was a photo. And then I did a couple more photos where I uploaded, minted, and that's really how I got into the space. But even before, photography and just like AI art, I was doing a lot of like hands-on woodworking with my dad. But like that was like
Mm,
10 years ago, and when he was in my life a little bit more, but like we would build furniture. Like his job was, he was a carpenter and he also a woodworker, so he built furniture, and that's really where he made his money from.
that's cool. Yeah, it's like a lot of people forget that that's like a serious art form. Photography is really interesting. Um, there's some like amazing photographers throughout the history of art. Was it like a weird transition for you going from like mainly photography to AI, or was there like a lot to learn?
Back in 2021, all we really had available was like VQ GAN models with Google Colab, and there wasn't really any tutorials. So it was more like you picked up the tool, you played around with it till it broke, then you tried to break it down to understand the tool better, and then if you needed help, what you'd have to do is like since there was no tutorials, there was really no guides. I'd have to go like contact another AI artist in the space and being like, hey, I bumped into this bug while prompting and using Google Colab. Like, can you help me fix it? And like that's the sort of methodology that we had back in the early days of AI and using these models. And for me, it
Mm,
was really I look at AI as sort of like a collaging tool per se because like I was collaging a lot of my early photography and playing around in Krita, which was the editing program at the time that I was using because I couldn't afford Photoshop. So I was using Krita, like, and I was manipulating photography inside of Krita, and I sort of played with the mindset of like, what if AI is the thing that is taking the photo, and I'm taking the outputs from the AI, and I'm
mm,
manipulating it in Krita and making artwork with it. So like I came at it from the same sort of mindset that I had with photography at the time, and I really applied that sort of mindset when looking at these tools and picking them up. And yeah, there was a little bit of a technical challenge, but like it's a new tool. Not a lot of people understood how it worked and how to troubleshoot bugs and whatnot. But I think that was really where the fun of the tool came for me.
yeah, I mean, in a way, that might be how you got so good at it, was like the process of figuring it out, talking to other people. I think that sometimes when we have to like figure it out and the steps aren't so obvious, that's when we really excel in the long run, obviously. Not at first, it's a little bumpy, but it kind of forces you to be resourceful. You learn a lot of tricks that maybe you would have never learned if you just, if it was just like super self evident. Um, So yeah, I mean, I think in a lot of ways, when you look back at it, it'll probably be like one of the better parts of the journey, like having to figure all that stuff out on your own, you know?
No, I definitely agree, and I've always been of the mindset of like I love troubleshooting things. I love figuring things
Yeah.
out. I love breaking things. I love like putting things together again. I think that's really where the fun of these tools really was, is because it's just like no one really knew how these things operated per se, and we were all fumbling around in the dark and just playing. And I think the whole key aspect for me in art is like it needs to be playful. Like I want to have fun while doing it. I don't want it to be like this thing where it's something that I have to do. It's something that I want to do, and something that I cherish doing. So like I still look at using AI and playing around with these tools as like me playing in a sandbox. I want to be that little kid again, and I think that's really where art should. It feels like that's where art lives for me as an artist.
Yeah, and that's what Picasso always said too. Is like his goal. He's like a very well trained artist. He went to, some of the top art academies in the entire world, I think, at the time, and he was basically determined to return to like his child self as an artist in a weird way, where you're having fun, exploring, trying new things. That's definitely where it's at. That's where the sauce is at. No Delta sauce pun there, but I think that yeah, I've done like art for companies before, where like I was hired as an artist. One time I was like designing album covers around like 2020. Um, I mean, it was cool. It was always like a dream until you got it and you realize like, oh, it's not as fun when I don't get to do what I want. It's like so specific, and then somebody comes in and like corrects your vision. Like, no, I don't. That's cool, but I don't like that. Do it this way, and it's sort of disheartening. So it's cool to just keep that playful mindset with it. Um, how do you like? Do you think that you see things in a way that others don't as an artist? Because Rick Rubin always said, he's like one of my favorite musical influences. He always said that a good artist spends time expressing the way they see the world that no one else sees the world, is essentially what he was saying. Is there some viewpoint that you have on things or time and
So
space that's
for,
different?
for me, I look at like especially as an artist that utilizes like AI heavily. It's not the only part of my process, but like I look at it from the perspective of like AI can easily replicate a visual aesthetic per se, but the thing that it can't replicate, and I don't think it'll ever be able to replicate, is like the memories or experiences that I have had growing up, and just my time on this planet. And I think that is where the uniqueness lies with AI art specifically. And looking at it from the whole lens of like it's not really about the how per se, it's more about the why. When looking at these tools, it's just like, because if anyone can create something really beautiful and stunning and like deeply visual, then the real question is like, why are they doing it? Like what is driving them? What's the intent? What's the meaning behind the work that helps to elevate it? Because like we're getting to a point with the tools now that it's very easy to make a beautiful piece of artwork. It's more so about like, why are you making it?
Yeah, I totally resonate with that. Like, it's like you said, it's gotten so easy to make beautiful things now. I always focus with AI stuff like, can I feel something in it? And to me, it usually seems like there was some human element involved that allowed me to feel that feeling. I think that in like a strange way, we're doing some sort of like alchemy when we use it, where we have to truly put our intentions or dreams or memories or something into it for the buyer or the viewer or whatever to really experience it the way we want them to, or the way that we're experiencing it. It's, I guess that brings me to like collectors. Like, is there a way that you engage collectors with that, or is it all about like intention and putting what you do into it to do that?
I think it's a combination of both, because like I work on art primarily for me. I'll take commissions every now and then, like we were talking about earlier, but like for like my art is my own thing. And even when when it comes to like commissions and whatnot, I am very earnest on like I want full creative control. That's usually how I go about it, because like I have trouble working in a bottle for like that's what I compare it to, like working in a bottle where it's just like it needs to be this. I want creative freedom as an artist, and when it comes to like engaging with collectors, I don't really talk about my artwork to collectors, which is, it's going to sound like a weird thing, but for me, when I, engage with collectors, I reach out and ask them like how their day is, and like,
Hmm.
try to build a relationship with these collectors, because I feel like that's another inherently, Web3 thing, is like in a traditional setting, the collector and the artist would rarely talk. There would be that
Yeah.
intermediate of the gallerist. So here is the best time and the best place to like get a hold of artists that are doing art and doing their craft, and asking them those questions, because I think a lot of artists would love that. A lot of artists like to have those discussions about like why the artwork exists, or like, and even the how. So like I look at it from that perspective as well. It's just like I don't really engage with collectors about my artwork until they ask. Like they have to ask, because like I don't want to ever feel like I'm shilling to them or trying to sell them something, because like I don't like that either. Like I'm a collector, and I hate when artists come to me and are trying to shill me like an artwork that they've created. Like, because like I don't buy art out of like pity. I just don't. I buy
Right.
art because I love it, because I resonate with it, and I want to support the artist, and I want to see that artist, make more art. So like I never want to be that way towards my collectors. So like anytime I reach out to collectors, I'm just like asking them how they've been, like how's the market treating them, and just like building those and fostering those relationships. And it's got to the point where like I do like 5 weekly calls with collectors or other artists in the space, and just have those one-on-one chats, whether it's as an artist or whether it's as a collector. I just like being able to talk to people and build relationships like that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm friends with this collector. You probably know OG, the person.
Oh, I love dude. OG is a maze, dude. He lives an hour away, and we hang out about
Okay,
like once a month. So like I am
that's
good friends with
awesome.
OG.
That's awesome. He always says new friends technology for NFTs. And I always thought that was really cool because it's like you said, it's more about building a relationship. And it's not about if they can buy your stuff or if they're like, interested in what you do per se as an artist. It is about finding people that you resonate, finding like your tribe, so to speak, however people want to put it. I think that that's the important part because at the end of the day, you can show people your stuff and you can like talk about yourself without being asked, and that's cool. And they might appreciate the interaction on some level, but it's never going to be truly like beneficial to you or them, and it should be a mutual thing. And I think if artists are like super concerned with just shilling, like maybe try to find a way to do it from the heart in some way,
Yeah.
like find a way to engage, maybe like on an emotional level without seeking pity, where it's like meaningful to the person that you're dealing with, because nobody likes being just shilled stuff relentlessly. Like I'm an artist and a collector as well, and like one of the things that I'm not gonna say I hate it, but like if you put out like maybe an open call, like hey, show me your stuff, and you buy a few pieces and post them, and then there's somebody under there going like, hey, check mine out, and then they come to the next one, hey, check it out, they come to the next one, hey, check. It's like, dude, you're just spamming me now, like like if you
I get that too. Like I understand why certain collectors are more private with collecting. Like they don't
yeah.
want that. They don't. Like it's the sad reality of the space is like once you say you bought something, then you have people coming into your comments being like, "Hey, check this piece out. You might like it." And I feel like there's a right and a wrong time for that, and that's a wrong time. Like I haven't done a shill thread in a while because I used to do them because like when I
Yeah.
was collecting and wanted to see new artwork that I normally don't see on the timeline, because again you are fed specific content. So you're
Exactly.
not you're not gonna be able to see all of the artwork that is potentially available, and there might be some artwork out there that you like that you just won't be able to see because of the algo. So like shill threads are a good way of doing that and breaking through the algo, so you're not seeing the same artist every time on your feed.
Yeah, I have two reasons I do it. So like that's why, and I might take a break soon because it does get overwhelming when you like 200 or 300 things. You're like, oh my god. You want to give like respect to each person's thing. So I still look at all of them, but yeah, like you said, you want stuff to break through that feed loop, to where you're seeing new things. And also like recently with like the Bat Soup Yum initiative and like some of these other initiatives that are out there, it's like I've been trying to help, and I'm like a very small collector by comparison. I'm definitely not comparing myself to any of those people, but like I felt like it can be good for the ecosystem to like help draw some excitement around this kind of like new thing that's happening. I finally feel like it's been years and people have been so down on NFTs and digital art, and it's like there's some new life and some new blood flowing through it and excitement again, because like people have said that they're going to be buying, and unfortunately it's attached to money and purchasing, but still that's part of why we're here. Like we want to do what we love and earn somewhat of a living off of it. So I think that's why I've been kind of like doing the show threads again. But yeah, I might take a break because it gets like exhausting too, and it takes away from time that you can use to create and like kind of like just spend time with yourself and like feel out like what is this crazy thing called life and reality that we're all dealing with, you know? um, what is like life before and after finding yourself as an artist? Like what's the comparison there? Is there like a big difference for you emotionally on a daily basis?
I would say yes, because like before, NFTs and before being a full time artist, I was like very miserable. Like and one of the things that kind of woke me up from that is just like I didn't want to be like, I didn't want to look back on life and regretted, not doing anything with my time here on, this planet. So like, I literally quit my job like, you know, in 2022, and I'm just like, it was the best decision of my life, but it was also the hardest thing that I've ever done. Like,
Yeah.
being an artist is hard. Being able to do this full time is hard.
Yeah.
But in that hardship, it is the most fulfilling thing that I've ever done. It's the thing that I want to do for the next 40 years. Like, I'm extremely grateful, like, to be in the position that I am, and having the support of the people that I do, because, like, I wake up every morning and get to do the thing that I love. And I think, that is special, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, I've done the same thing. I've quit a job for this, and then gotten new jobs again, and then quit again. It's been, it's like you said, life as an artist isn't super easy all the time, but we make it work. It's cool to know that you took the plunge like that. I think that a lot of people want to do that. I'm not gonna say they don't have the courage to do it because that's not really fair.
I will say this. I am a very, you know, while I wasn't a very wealthy, and I was working a 9 to 5, making $850 an hour, I will say that I was in a privileged position where no one relies on me financially. I'm not in a serious relationship. I don't have kids. I don't have like those kind of obligations. So like, I will say that is a very privileged position to be in at the age of like 27, and being able to just say, I'm not going to work a 9 to 5 anymore. I'm just going to do art and see where it takes me. So like, and not, because like if I fail, it's on me. It's not on anyone else. I'm not affecting anyone else. If I fail, it's all on me and it's all my fault at the end of the day, or I didn't work hard enough. So like, I look at it from that perspective where like, there are so many artists here that have families that, have people that, are under their obligation when it comes to finances and keeping a roof over their head, that really can't take the plunge. And I understand that completely. And I honestly, I have a lot of respect for those people that are balancing I have a tremendous amount of respect for those balancing a full-time job, balancing a serious relationship, balancing kids, and doing this, because it's hard. Like, and I have nothing but respect for those artists here.
Yeah, I've been on both sides of that. So like I'm 37 now, and I've seen both sides. Like when I originally took the plunge into like trying to be full-time artist, I had no one like relying on me at all, and now that's changed, and it's a big difference for sure. And it's cool that you know that and see that. And I would say just enjoy it, because life's great no matter what happens. Obviously, I love my life. I loved it then. I love it now. But there's a big difference for sure, like you're saying. And I don't think I actually had that self-awareness when I was in your position. I think it's actually really cool that you noticed that. I definitely didn't like realize it at the time. So it's very, very cool. Yeah, it's very interesting. Like I have a job now, which it's a remote job. I actually work at an AI music company, so that's
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like a dream job in a way, right? Like you get to like generate music all day, look for bugs, think of like ideas to promote the platform, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's great. But yeah, there's a there's a big difference when the pressure is on, and it doesn't always make you better or worse. It's just different. I can see though how for some artists it might like really affect their output. Some artists don't work good under pressure. Some work amazing under pressure. We're also different.
Yeah.
Um, like, what's your favorite kind of artist, by the way? Like, what's your favorite if you're collecting something? Just to get into your head on that collector side for a minute.
You mean if you're talking about artists here? I have like a peso. Like I'll shout out like Sigma X. I'm a big Sigma X collector. I just got a commission done by him that I'm
Okay.
really happy with. That's in my vault, and then also AKC line of AKC, whose work has been tremendous. I absolutely love it, and I'm also a big collector of his work as well. And Josie. Like I need to collect a little
Oh
bit of
man.
more of her work. But I love Josie. I've been a big fan. I think they have an auction live right now as
Yeah.
the the spaces or as we're talking. But yeah, she is tremendous. Ezra Eslin, another amazing artist in this space as well. She is based out of Turkey, Istanbul. I met her a couple years back in person. Her artwork is absolutely amazing as well. So like I just love collecting artwork from just like so many different artists here in this space, and for me it's never really about the whole idea of like I'm gonna make money off this, like I'm
Right.
gonna be able to sell this in like a month for 2x. It's never really about like that. It's about like I want to buy a piece of their artwork because I like what they do. I love like their visuals and like storytelling, and also I want to support an amazing person. Like I want them to like I want to give them my money so that they can keep making art. And I know they're not going to quit making art, but like it's just giving them a resource to like keep going as an artist and keep pushing forward. I think it's very fulfilling for me. Like I want to support other artists because I know how hard it is. I know how hard it is to do this full time. So like being in a position where I can support other artists is very valuable.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Like once a month, like it feels like there's always this dead period each month where sales aren't coming, and like once a month I get down on myself like, oh, I'm just gonna quit, and then the next day I wake up and I work harder at it, and it's like if it's not like the thing that keeps you going per se, but it does affect your psychology as an artist slightly because you start to think like, oh, if I think I'm good and people tell me I'm good, but it's not selling, like what's wrong with me? Am I?
I love this conversation. By the way, I think this is a really good conversation to have because it's just like I used to be that way. I used to be that way in 2022, like when everything was dead. And honestly, I was like, in October, I was down to my last $1,000. Like I was doing this for like 5 6 months, full time. I was down to my last $1,000, and like you start to question everything, and like then all it takes is like one spark, one moment, and then things just turn around. And it feels very weird, like to see it happen. But it's happened so many times here, and it's happened for a lot of artists. And I tell artists, it's not about the peaks. It's not about like the wins. It's how do you survive the fall offs? How do you survive like the valleys? Like how do you
Hmm.
survive like you know being in a position where it's just you against the world and like no one else is there. Like those are the defining moments of being an artist because like the peaks are very momentary. It's not
Yeah.
like I've I've sadly seen a lot of artists in this space get success overnight and think that success is going to be there for the next 5 years, and they're going to be making more and more money every time. But like success is very momentary here, and just with art in general, not just here in the space, but like success is very momentary. It's about like how do you survive those moments when there is no success? Like how do you dust yourself off and keep going? And I think that's the key aspect to look at, especially doing this full time.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Well, I know you're right. Um, I've had those peaks and valleys too. I used to sell pieces for like 2 ETH, 1 ETH, and then I go from like selling them to like point zero 0.01 and then back to point 0.1 and point 0.2. It's like it's been such a up down over the years. And I think that it's almost like the universe or God or nature, whatever people want to call that. Um, it's like it tests you as an artist, especially. And it's like it's almost designed for us to get down to that last $1,000 or whatever, to where like it's like, what are you made of? Are you gonna fold? Are you gonna start doing more work because of it? Are you going to end up doing your best work because of it? Um, it's so crazy. It does happen to almost all of us. It's so insane. Um, Has there been any that you love that have quit from that?
I've seen a few people move on from the space. I've collected a lot of artists over the years, and like sometimes I look at it from the perspective of like this place isn't a fit for everyone. It's not like it's not a fit for everyone, and that's okay. And I look at it from that lens, but I've seen a lot of like really amazing artists like just there aren't here anymore, and like it's the sad reality of the space that turnover rate here is very high, especially even in the art world it's very high because people it's very only a very small percent are able to do this full time. I know a lot of artists that have been doing this, part time, for the last 40 years. A lot of them are, professors at like, schools. So like, it's very, very hard to be in that position where you can do this full time. So like, I understand why people quit. I do. Like, I've almost thrown in the towel. I'll be honest with you because like, there are moments where it gets hard and you start to question everything. And it's just like, but I will say, having a tribe and having sort of a group of people that you trust and can be like fully honest and transparent with is very much needed. Like I tell people, like it's you cannot be a self-made successful artist. There is no self-made successful artist. Success doesn't work like that here in the art space and being an artist. You have people that lift you up, that champion you, and you need to find that group of people that love what you do and want to be a part of that journey and that want to champion you, and I think it becomes a lot easier. As well as like I've prescribed to the mindset of like, doesn't matter if you've spent $10,000 on my artwork. It doesn't matter if you spent $5 on my artwork. You still are a part of that journey, and I still want you to be a part of my tribe if you want to like take part in it. I still want you to be a part of my journey. So like I look at it from the lens of like whoever like, and it doesn't even need to be money. I think I think we put a lot of value on like how much is spent on a piece of artwork when a lot of an artist's career can be moved by just word of mouth. It doesn't need to be moved by like people spending money. I tell people this, like I make money off Twitter. I make money off of people seeing my artwork. Like by you just seeing my artwork and interacting with my tweets is like you're supporting me,
Yeah.
and it's not a direct financial support from you. It's just the way the system operates. So like again, you don't need to necessarily support an artist financially to help foster and push their career forward.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think like the GM culture is what keeps a lot of artists going too. Just seeing people stop in the morning and say, "Hey, I love that piece," or "I love what you do," or something. Like I think that actually keeps a lot of us going. I think that being on Twitter and kind of like interacting in groups with each other, it gives us a lot of that why that we're continuously seeking as artists as we evolve. For me, it's like whenever things go dark, it seems like sometimes it just takes like one compliment and one kind word from somebody. They don't have to buy anything. It's almost like just even that like a like from one of your favorite artists. It's super meaningful, So I think that's something that helps us keep going a lot of the time. Yeah, I don't know. It's very cool. But we're getting towards our time limit. Is there any like projects or aspirations of yours that are in the works? Is there anything that you're like trying to promote? Anything you're working on so people can kind of like?
So for me right now, I just made a post today because I want to just get back to the roots of why I do art. So like I'm doing, I'm challenging myself like 100 days of new artwork.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily say in every day, but like I want to just highlight a lot of the artwork that I have, either finished or that I have, been experimenting with and just showcase it daily. Because like I want to get like that was where the root of my enjoyment for artwork came, is like the exploration aspect and like sharing art and just like having no expectations for the artwork. It doesn't. It's not minted. It's not for sale. It's just me making artwork and posting it out into the world. And, maybe if someone wants it, we could strike up a conversation. But, like, I just want to, like, have no expectations for my artwork moving forward. Because I feel like that is the most freeing kind of mentality to have. Just not having to sell, the things you make and just putting it out into the world and seeing who resonates with it potentially, I think is very eye opening for me. So I
Yeah.
really want to get back to my roots on that. But I'm also working on a little bit of like side projects, talking to some galleries. I have a big announcement in 2 weeks, and like I've just been really excited about like everything moving forward. And like again, a lot of it's like a lot of moving parts in the background that aren't necessarily public, but like I'm very transparent on that end. So like being able to like open the door and show people like what I'm working on and tell people what I'm working on is really like interesting to me. So like yeah, I have a big announcement in 2 weeks. I'm really excited about it. So like you're getting the first scoop of that. So
That's amazing. Yeah, I think that sounds really exciting. Hopefully, it's like some big kind of showcase or exhibition or something. Let's hope that the more people get to see your stuff. I love what you do. I like your vibe, and I think this has been an awesome conversation. So I really appreciate you agreeing to be here, and appreciate you being so kind offline, or online, technically offline, online, however we say it. And yeah, I hope to do this again soon because this is a great conversation. I feel like I actually got a lot out of this as an artist and a collector and just a human being. So I'm really grateful for your time. And thank you, man. I appreciate you.
no, thank you again, and I really enjoyed this conversation, man. I always love these, so I do appreciate this.
All right, thank you. And no, that makes me happy to know that you enjoyed it. One of the worst things is when you get like a fellow artist or a collector or anybody that's like, you can tell that they like want to do it for some reason to help you out or like just to promote something, but then they're like not engaged or not having a good time. And this has been probably like this might be one of my best conversations with somebody so far because it seems like you actually have like a lot to say and you know why you're doing this, you know what you want out of it, and yeah, it's very very interesting. There's not a lot of artists that seem so like composed and like have like such a good understanding of like what's happening inside themselves and the world around them. So that's really cool. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end it. This has been Nathan's Art Show, everybody. Go follow Delta Sauce, check out the artwork, buy some artwork, stop in, give a compliment, say hello, say I love you, whatever you want to do. But definitely check it out. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Have a good one, guys.